afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mohini Harsam appearing in her hideous self in video number 4. So I'm going back to the topic that I said I had a heart attack on 28 May. So now I'm going to explain that. So firstly, I wanted a viewer to distinguish between fact and opinion because opinions don't have a proof as to whether they are truthful and if so first go over the facts and then I'll tell you how I got that opinion. So I'm going to go to tell you that I went to the hospital around 10 o'clock after having some mounting chest pains come on suddenly. This sort of thing has been happening regularly since the beginning of March. So I got there around 10 o'clock. I walked to get a taxi because the receptionist was not there and I thought it would be faster and it would be okay to walk. I got a taxi, just feeling like, when it gives a sudden squeeze, then you have like a roller coaster. Your chest does really scary things and you want to say, God, help me, or cry out in discomfort. So heart attacks are painful, but sometimes they won't be. They'll be less painful. They may not be painful at all. So, like I said, I went there. The nurse said I have 5 out of 10 in terms of pain. And when I get that sudden thing in my chest, I go, oh my God, oh. And then, it's a continuous thing, but it's like the waves of an ocean. Sometimes there's a big wave, but there are always waves. So anyhow, they keep asking, when did it come? How many minutes did it last? And how many seconds and so on. They keep cross-examining. So I try my best to be truthful. First of all, the nurse did an ECG echocardiogram. And normally they hide the ECG, but purely by accident he showed it to me. He didn't show it actually. I saw it because it was on the table and I said, it says septal infarct. And it says, some other things. So I said, I'm having a heart attack, am I? Then the nurse said, no, I had to show it to a doctor. It's not my business. And in a twinkling, he went off and then he came back. And a nurse came along, a female nurse. This man's name was Christian. And this lady said, doctor wants her in a wheelchair taken to defib. So I know defib is a short for defibrillator. They didn't ask me to get into a wheelchair, but I was walking and everything, so it wasn't very far. It was the next building, and it was actually okay to sit through the night. I was connected to a defibrillator, and it was a defibrillator, I think, and it was a table, and I had a manual cardiac resuscitation, and they kept me there till 5 in the morning. They were very busy. They didn't have beds. Actually, because of the way my heart was, it was more comfortable to sit. And initially I was gasping, God help me. And then after 1, 2, it gradually became less and less, horrible. Then what I wanted to tell you about defibrillator is that there was a dial which said shock, and I think that dial is there because a human hand will manipulate it manually, and because I was connected to several leads, I wouldn't know if it is programmed to shock me if my heart stops, because it monitors that, and or if my heart stops, they'll be able to notice I'm gasping and they'll come and turn it on. In any case, my heart did not stop that night, and at 5 a.m. I was given a bed, was taken off the defibrillator, and about 8 o'clock I was moved into a short stay ward, and then I was discharged at 4 p.m. but I was seen by some doctor, nurse practitioner or something, and then by cardiologist. They told me that my heart was normal, my ECG was normal, my bloods were normal. So, and my heart is fit and healthy. I'd had another episode when I went to Mater Hospital, so this is the third time I'm going to Mater Hospital on the 28th of May, because the first was 9th of March, the second was 22nd of May. So on the 9th of March, I was having a cardiac event after a very, very long time. And the doctor told me after, they didn't put me on a defibrillator, they gave me intravenous painkiller and anti-nausea. And I went like at 4 in the morning, and I was better by 10 a.m. in the morning, but the doctor on the 9th of March said I had a very healthy heart and the ECG was normal and the troponins were normal. She also went to check my cardiac record and said that there is no record of any kind in this hospital that says anything except that your heart is fit and normal. So actually, I know that is not the truth, and I've got some records otherwise from Major Hospital, but that's what she said. I assume she has access to my records and that it was a lie. Not a mistake, but a lie. So anyway, I said, I didn't shout or be abusive. I just said, and I want to be clear, I'm stating I wasn't abusive. I said, I have an issue here. I wouldn't keep on having symptoms if I didn't have a heart issue, and there are records of my heart disease in Mater, and this is going to go on and on until one major heart attack when I die. I'm always going to be told I'm normal. She said, you've got to see a psychiatrist. Firstly, I thought of running, but I didn't actually run because I'm too weak and guards will stop me and I don't want to be really messy. So I decided to wait and see what happens. Then a lady came along and spoke to me. I sort of liked her at first sight and she seemed to be a pleasant person. But she said she was the psychiatrist and I said, please, I said, I'm happy to talk to you, but I don't really want an assessment because I have some cardiac issues and the doctor says I don't have any. So I talked for 15 or 20 minutes. She said she's not doing an evaluation because I don't need it. And she said everything's okay. She's not doing an evaluation. She's written in her report that this person does not have an urgent need to be seen by a psychiatrist. So actually she did an evaluation and she was nice, and she was nice to the point I said, this lady is lying. So a little bit after being seen by the psychiatrist on the 9th of March, I had walked out of the hospital and they sent the police after me to say I have a serious illness and I have to come back. Now, this was not actually true because they told me I don't need treatment and I'm fit and healthy. There ends the story. So once there on the 22nd of March, I was seen by a very pleasant gentleman, and then I've been again on the 22nd of May, I was seen by a very pleasant gentleman, and now on the 28th of March, on the 29th morning when they told me I'm normal, the nurse practitioner said she will let me have a copy of the ECG. But the cardiologist said, no, we don't release ECG, you can get it in patient records. So I believe that I won't, and I've asked my GP to get it, but I'm having arrhythmia every single day, and I only go to A&E when it's gets unbearable. So I'll go on to video number 5 now that I've introduced you to some of the facts. One more fact I want to tell you is I went to a cardio in July 2023, and this person, he did an MRI and said it is completely normal. Now, I read the MRI, and I'm fluent in English, but I did drop biology at secondary school level, so I do not have a medical background, and in my limited capacity to understand medical matters, there was some abnormality in the MRI, but as I'm not medically qualified, I'm okay with the medical professional telling me that it's normal when there's English language words telling that it is not, because he made an overall subjective assessment and said it's normal. That's how I feel, because I trust doctors. So that brings me to the end of video number 4. Well, I've given you a sketchy introduction of all the events that took place, because that's all I need to tell you for the moment.